Picture this. London, 1888. The nights are damp. Fog rolls in thick across the cobbled streets of Whitechapel. Gas lamps flicker in alleyways too narrow for carriages. You can hear the clatter of boots, the whisper of tired footsteps, and somewhere, a scream that no one hears. And then, silence. Another woman is dead, and the killer, gone. No one saw him. No one heard him. No one could stop him. For 3 months, a phantom haunted London's East End. A man who struck with brutal precision and disappeared into the night. To this day, we still don't know his name. But history remembers him by another one. Jack the Ripper. Welcome to Chalk and Silence, where we unravel the darkest mysteries that history forgot to solve. Today we're going back to the autumn of 1888, to the blood-soaked back streets of Whitechapel. No theories, no Hollywood myths, just the facts. Who were the victims? What did the police actually do? And how did a murderer commit 5 horrific crimes in plain sight and get away? Let's walk back into the fog and retrace every step. To understand how these crimes happened, you need to understand where they happened. Whitechapel was one of the most overcrowded, poverty-stricken areas in all of London. Thousands of people were packed into slums, known as rookeries. These weren't just dirty, they were collapsing. Whole families lived in one room. Others rented half a bed. If you couldn't afford even that, you could pay a penny to sleep standing, leaning on a rope strung across a basement. Crime ran rampant. So did disease. People drank gin like it was water, because the actual water could kill you. Women who couldn't find steady work often turned to the streets. Sex work wasn't glamorous. It was survival, and it made them easy targets. Targets the Ripper would exploit. Friday, August 31st. At about 3:40 in the morning, a carman named Charles Cross is walking to work along Bucks Row. In the pale glow of a street lamp, he sees someone, lying on the ground. It's Mary Ann Nichols. She's 43, mother of 5. Recently kicked out of her lodging house because she didn't have the 4p to pay for a bed. Her throat has been slashed twice, deep enough to reach the vertebrae. And her abdomen, partially opened, bowels exposed. Whoever did this knew how to move fast and cut deep. But they didn't take anything. Her clothes and belongings, such as they were still there. And the killer? Gone. By the time officers get to the scene, a small crowd has formed. The area is dark. There's no proper crime scene protocol. The body is removed. The cobblestones? Washed clean. No fingerprints, no photographs, no evidence preserved. This will become a pattern. Investigators suspect the killer might be a butcher or someone with anatomical skill, maybe a local, maybe someone just passing through. But they don't know yet. This isn't the last. It's only the beginning. Just 8 days after Mary Ann Nichols was found, it happens again. Saturday, September 8th, 1888. Around 6 a.m., a man named John Davis opens the back door of 29 Hanbury Street. He's heading out into the shared yard behind the house, and he stops dead. Annie Chapman is lying near the steps. She's been slaughtered, throat cut clean through, just like Nichols. But this time it's worse. Her abdomen has been sliced open, completely. Her intestines are pulled out and laid over her right shoulder. Her uterus is gone. Taken. She was last seen alive around 5:30 a.m., arguing with a man. One witness described him as shabby genteel, wearing a deerstalker hat. But again, no one saw the actual crime. This murder sends shockwaves. The brutality, the precision. The fact that it happened in a backyard, just steps from people sleeping inside. The newspapers have a field day. They publish every gruesome detail. The term Jack the Ripper hasn't been coined yet, but the fear? It's spreading. Local women are terrified to go out at night. People accuse each other in the streets. The police, under pressure, double patrols, interview hundreds of residents, and even start going undercover. But nothing sticks. And then, the killer strikes twice in one night. It's a cold Sunday morning. Around 1 a.m., a man named Louis Diemschutz turns his cart into Dutfield's yard off Berner Street. His horse suddenly shies. On the ground is a woman's body. Elizabeth Stride. She's 45, born in Sweden, known locally, known to drink. Her throat has been slashed, one clean, deep cut. But there's no mutilation, which is strange. Some believe the killer was interrupted, Diemschutz arriving just seconds too soon. He may have scared Jack off before he could do more. So what does the Ripper do? He walks and finds another victim. About 45 minutes later, at 1:45 a.m., City of London police find another body. This time in Mitre Square, just inside their jurisdiction. It's Catherine Eddowes, 46. A sharp-tongued, quick-witted woman who was actually in police custody earlier that night for drunkenness. Now, her body is a canvas of horror. Throat slashed, abdomen opened wide, intestines pulled out. But there's more. Her face has been mutilated, eyelids slashed, nose partly cut off, cheek deeply sliced. And inside the body, another organ is missing. Her left kidney. It's the most grotesque scene so far. And the killer? Still at large. Friday, November 9th, 1888. It's been over a month since the double murder. Some people hoped it was over, that maybe the killer moved on, or was caught quietly for something else. But Jack the Ripper wasn't done. Not yet. At 10:45 a.m., a rent collector named Thomas Bowyer knocks on the door of 13 Miller's Court, a tiny room off Dorset Street. Mary Jane Kelly owes money. No answer. He pushes open the door. And what he sees is unlike anything anyone has seen before. Mary Jane Kelly, around 25 years old, is lying on the bed, or what's left of her. Her throat has been cut all the way down to the spine. Her face is mutilated beyond recognition. Her abdomen and chest are opened, organs removed, flesh stripped from her thighs. Her heart is missing from the scene. The room is soaked in blood. The killer had time, privacy, no fear of being seen. This was the crescendo, the final performance. Now the police are desperate. This is murder number 5, all within walking distance, all targeting vulnerable women, all carried out with escalating precision. But Victorian police, they're in the dark, literally. There are no crime scene photos except for one of Mary Jane Kelly, and even that was more of a documentation than real forensics. No fingerprints, no DNA. Not even a basic understanding of how to preserve evidence. Scenes were trampled, cleaned, and poorly documented. They tried, though. Officers questioned over 2,000 people. They interviewed sailors, doctors, butchers, even slaughterhouse workers. They handed out 80,000 flyers, went door to door in the lodging houses of Whitechapel, and still, nothing. At the time, the Metropolitan Police were led by Sir Charles Warren, a military man, not a detective. He brought in Inspector Frederick Aberline, who knew Whitechapel better than most. Aberline did his best. But the case was like chasing a ghost. Even worse, jurisdictional chaos. Most of the murders happened under the Metropolitan Police. But Catherine Eddowes' body, that was in the City of London's territory, a completely separate police force. That meant 2 different investigations, 2 different record systems, and not nearly enough collaboration. The public lost faith quickly. People believed the police were covering something up. Or worse, totally incompetent. Vigilante groups even formed, patrolling the streets with clubs, hoping to catch the killer themselves. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Let's be clear, the police had suspects. They just didn't have evidence. One of the earliest men questioned was John Pizer, a local bootmaker known by the nickname Leather Apron. He had a reputation for intimidating women, and rumors flew fast. The press basically labeled him the killer overnight. But when he turned up with solid alibis, he was cleared. Then there was Montague John Druitt, a barrister and teacher who took his own life in the Thames just weeks after Mary Jane Kelly was killed. An internal memo written years later claimed Druitt was sexually insane and implied his family suspected him. But here's the thing. He lived miles away, had no known connection to Whitechapel, and no evidence ever linked him to the crimes. His name was added after the fact, not during the heat of the investigation. Another serious police suspect? Aaron Kosminski. He was a Polish immigrant living in the area and struggling with mental illness. He reportedly had violent episodes and was eventually committed to an asylum. Assistant Commissioner Robert Anderson later claimed a witness identified Kosminski, but refused to testify because both he and the suspect were Jewish, and he didn't want to be responsible for condemning a fellow member of his community. But this story? It's murky. It was never documented officially, and other officers had doubts. One even wrote in the margins of Anderson's book that the identification could not have been stronger, but no charges were ever brought. Then there was George Chapman, born Severin Klosowski. He was a barber living in Whitechapel during the time of the murders. Later, he poisoned 3 of his partners and was executed in 1903. Inspector Aberline himself believed Chapman was a strong suspect. He had medical training, lived near the scenes, and had a violent streak. But again, the connection was circumstantial, and Chapman's method of killing, slow poisoning, didn't match the savage, up-close violence of the Ripper. Dozens of names were floated over the years, some real, some outlandish. Doctors, butchers, lunatics, artists. Even an American quack doctor named Francis Tumblety made the list after he fled England during the killings. But nothing stuck. Every time a lead came close, it fell apart. After Mary Jane Kelly's murder, the killings stopped, just like that. Some think the killer died, or was locked up for another crime, or maybe he left London, vanished into the masses of the working poor. The truth? We don't know. And the fact that it ended so abruptly only adds to the legend. No one was ever arrested. No one was ever tried. No one confessed. And no one, not in 1888 and not since, has been able to say, with certainty, who Jack the Ripper really was. It's been over 130 years since Jack the Ripper walked the streets of Whitechapel. And yet, we still talk about him. Why? Because this isn't just a whodunit. It's a story of fear, failure, and the invisible cracks in society. The victims were forgotten women. Poor, struggling, invisible to the powerful, until they became headlines. The police worked hard, but they were up against chaos. No forensic science, no modern tools. A city barely able to keep itself lit, let alone protected. And the killer? He became a symbol, a shadow. Not just for what he did, but for what he got away with. It was the perfect storm of violence, secrecy, and mystery. And when you combine all that, you get a legend. In 2014, a claim surfaced that modern DNA testing had identified the Ripper. A shawl, allegedly found near Catherine Eddowes' body, was tested. Researchers said the mitochondrial DNA on it matched a living relative of Aaron Kosminski. The press ran wild. But here's the thing. Mitochondrial DNA is shared across many people. The chain of custody on that shawl? Questionable at best. And the scientists? They never released the full data. Even the journal that published the findings later issued an expression of concern. So, does it prove anything? Not really. But it's proof of something else. That even now we're still chasing the shadow of Jack the Ripper. Thanks for walking through the fog with me. If you felt the chill of 1888 creeping up your spine, make sure to subscribe to Chalk and Silence for more unsolved cases, forgotten history, and stories that never got their ending. And tell me, in the comments, do you think Jack the Ripper's identity will ever be confirmed? Or is he destined to stay what he's always been? A ghost in the fog.